welcome to Chris and Kelly TV. First of all, I just want to tell you that I've been at the farmer's market and I've been shopping and I've been out with my friend the entire day. I was filming a vlog for the past, I think, 7 hours. So my makeup is from way early this morning, so sorry I'm like a little like crazy looking. Additionally, my background is not going to be the sequin background for when I do like just, you know, normal like talk to you videos. I just had it up and I didn't want to take it down, and I just got home and I want to take a bath, take off my makeup. So I wanted to really do a video because a few different people have been requesting like another story time video. So last night I was kind of thinking and I was like, what would be like a really good story time? So I decided to tell you guys a story that is very weird. This is like a very weird dating story, and it was weird because I told my boyfriend about it like a long time ago, and then last night I was like kind of like jotting down ideas. I was like, well, what should I do for story time? And he said, well, why don't you do that story about that guy when you were in college? Because that to me is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. So I was like, okay, cool. So there's so much detail in it that I actually like got my notepad out and I wrote down notes. So I have my notepad of like notes from this. Also, sorry I'm like looking a little orange. I spray tanned last night and I'm very fair skinned, so it takes like a day or two for it like kind of to cool down on my skin. So of all of my lights set up, I turned off a few of them because they were making me look really orange. So sorry if like the lighting is not perfect, and sorry if like I'm definitely orange, I don't know. But hope you guys love this video, and I hope you love my story because it's very entertaining. So first of all, I moved to Los Angeles when I moved to San Francisco a week after I graduated high school for college. And then I left school in San Francisco and I moved back to Massachusetts, and I lived there for maybe 6 months. And then I moved back to California and I moved to Los Angeles. So I moved to Los Angeles and I went to FIDM, which is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in downtown Los Angeles. So I went to FIDM. It is primarily females. There's not a lot of men that go to the school. Orientation, I would say. I think this was like, I would say maybe I'd been in California for 5 days at that point. So I didn't really have any friends. I didn't know anyone. I was very last minute in registering for classes. I actually got my roommates super last second. I had, they like had kind of there was 4 of us that they didn't know where to put us. They put us together. And it actually worked out really well. Like I really liked those girls. So I met this guy at orientation and he had red hair. He was like kind of goofy. I can't for the life of me remember how I started talking to him, like what interaction was the first interaction we had, but we had some kind of interaction and he got my number and I was like, oh, you know, this is so cool. Like a guy's like asking me on a date. We hung out, I would say maybe 2 to 3 times. So we had hung out before. I'm really not sure of like what we had done. Probably it was just like hanging out at school, like playing on the computers or something, because I think he was graphic design and I was in visual communications, probably something like that, just very friendly. But nothing like physical had happened, and nothing, you know, nothing at this point had been anything to indicate that like he was interested in me. And so I told my roommates about him and I was like, oh, you know, this really cute guy and he really likes me and blah, blah, blah. And like he had come and picked me up a few times and we went to like a tanning salon and just like, I don't tan, by the way, but I think I spray tanned or something, but just little things. Like we had done like a few small things, and he didn't know anyone either, so he was new. And so one night, I think that he had messaged me and he was like, oh, like, do you want to hang out? And I was like, oh, well, like my roommates and I are kind of like watching a movie. And he was like, oh, well, can I come over? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he comes over and he like hung out with my roommates for maybe like an hour, watched a movie, and then he was like, you know, peaced out and left. So maybe 2 days later or something, he messaged me and he's like, hey, I'd love to like, you know, make your roommates dinner because your roommates were so nice and cool to me, and I'd love to make you dinner. I make the most amazing pasta dish you've ever had. This is a recipe that's been handed down from like my great grandmother. It's a tradition. We always make this in my family. I would love to make this pasta dish for you and your roommates, you know, just like as, you know, a thank you for your hospitality. And I was like, oh yeah, that's so nice. So, you know, like you just met my roommates for like an hour, and you know, at this point too, like I was like, oh my God, like me, because I was very young too. I think I was like 18. So I was like, oh my God, like maybe this guy likes me, you know? because like we'd only been friends, but like, you know, now he's like wants to make dinner, and I was like, oh my God, like told my roommates, and they're like, yeah, he totally likes you, you know, like wants to make you dinner, and this is like so cool. So I'm like, oh my God, like a boy likes me. This is like such a big deal. So I got like really done up, you know, like my roommates did my hair and makeup, and I was like, I feel like I was like in a beauty pageant, like all cracked out. Like I was like, hi. So he comes over to our house, and we lived at the Renaissance in like Miracle Mile in Los Angeles, which is literally right across the street from a Ralph's. Like when I say right across the street, it's like the garage opens to like, we'd like open to ours and then like go to Ralph's. Like it was just literally like across the street, like very, very close. You get the point. So we went to Ralph's, and he comes to the house, and he like first of all comes to the house empty-handed. So it was just kind of weird because my roommates and I had like had the table set, and we were like had cooking supplies out, you know, like pans and stuff, because he had said he wanted to make us dinner. So he comes without like anything, like without any groceries or anything, and I was like, oh, like hi, da da da, and then he was like, oh, so do you want to go with me to the grocery store, because I have to go get ingredients for dinner. So of course, yeah. So I, you know, am in a dress, like I'm ready for, you know, I'm not like ready to go to the supermarket. I'm like, okay. So I kind of like change really quickly or put on some sneakers or something. And we go to Ralph's. So we're in Ralph's. I'm like makeup, hair, ready. It's just very weird. I'm 18, very awkward. And he's picking out, you know, like he's picking out stuff to make dinner. So he gets the ingredients for dinner, and then he's like, oh, you know, I really think I'm going to dye my hair. Do you think I should dye my hair? Because his hair was red, and, you know, I had told him I liked the red hair, but if you want to dye your hair, you know, you could go brown or black, like, or blonde, like, you know, red hair is kind of easy. It's kind of in the middle of all of those. So I was like, yeah, you could totally do that. So right there, while we're at Ralph's, he starts picking out hair dyes, and he's picking out like all these different colors. He's like having me like help him pick out hair. So we're like 45 minutes just of looking at hair dyes at the grocery store. So that in itself was very strange. So we get to the checkout counter, and I'm standing there, you know, he puts everything on the counter, and then the lady, you know, says the amount. She's like, you know, 47 something something. And we're both just standing there. Oh, did you want me to pay for that? Looks at me and said, well, of course you would pay for that. Well, of course you'd pay for the ingredients. I'm making dinner for you and your roommates. Which was so insane because it was so weird. This guy had bought himself like Axe deodorant, all these hair dyes, just really, like, I think he got some cleaning supplies or something. Like, I think when we were shopping, he was like, oh, I need, you know, some like dish detergent or something. He was just great. You know, it was just all his things, and then a box of pasta and a jar of, oh my God, what was it? Is it it wasn't Alfredo sauce. It was, what's the green? Oh my God. It's like the green sauce. What is the name of it? Oh my God, it's getting great. Oh my God, what is it? What is the name of that? Oh, it's gonna make me crazy. Okay, whatever, I'll think of it. But it was like the green sauce. It was a can of sauce that you would just get and then pour on. It was nothing special. There was nothing at all special about this. So, you know, and then he says to me, well, of course you would pay for the ingredients. I'm making dinner for you and your roommates. So even though at this point I was very like, you know, I was still young. So Kristen, 2016, I would have looked at him and said, no, absolutely not. Like, you offered to make dinner for my roommates and I know. And I would have walked my little ass home and slammed the door. But Kristen at the time, I, you know, thought, well, maybe that's how it works. Maybe if somebody makes dinner for you and your roommates, maybe you are supposed to pay for the ingredients. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's right. So I said, oh, okay, well, I'll pay for the ingredients for dinner, but I'm not buying you hair dye and I'm not paying for all of these things for you. This guy picks up the hair dye and goes, well, fuck, and throws the hair dye like in, you know, that basket of stuff that you don't want. So at this point, I'm like, wow, this guy is fucking insane. But still, I'm like, happy face, happy face. I'm the first one to get a date out of all my roommates. Like, this is, a big deal for me. Like, so we get, the groceries, which I paid for. And we walk back to the apartment. He cooks he cooks the pasta and cooks it's not Alfredo. What is that green stuff? Okay, I need to Google this because it's going to drive me crazy. Pesto, that was it. So he had pesto and he had a box of pasta. That was it. That was this family, recipe that's from the gods, okay? So he makes, the boiled water with the pasta in it and heats up the pesto and then puts it together and then fixes himself a bowl. So my roommates and I are all sitting at the table, the set table, waiting because we think that he's, going to say, oh, come get your dishes, or he's going to serve us. I mean, we weren't even oh, he's going to serve us. We thought we would just take our dish and go over and, But no, he fixes himself a bowl and is eating it in the corner of the kitchen while we're waiting because we think oh, we're going to all sit together at the table. Clearly you see the table, you're not blind, you can see a table where people are sitting and it's set. So we're sitting there waiting so we're looking at each other. So Katie, my roommate, is was he eating? So I stand up and I go over, I'm oh, hey, are you testing it or are you eating? And he's oh, I'm eating. This is delicious. I make a delicious pasta. Oh, you don't want any? Oh, no, we just thought you would have told us that dinner was ready, offered to bring it to us, or offered for us to come get some. It was just very weird. So we get our dinner, and then Katie says, oh, and don't worry about cleaning the pots, or don't worry about cleaning the dishes. We'll do the dishes because you made dinner. He looks at Katie and says, well, of course you would do the dishes. It was 1920 and we were housewives, and he was the big Papa Warbucks with a cigar in his mouth and a martini glass. Of course you would do the dishes. So she is and kind of looks over at the rest of us, and we're all is this real? Is this guy really in my house? So then oh my God, what is the one with Holly Madison? The Girls Next Door. So the Girls Next Door was on, and this was, before there was TiVo and Netflix and all this stuff. So we were we all four walk over and we're ah! Oh, there's four of us, by the way, four mice. And we all walk over and we're watching the Girls Next Door. We're all kind of looking at each other because we are wondering what he's doing. We're watching the Girls Next Door in the living room. He's in the kitchen, which is very close. It's a small apartment. Kind of eating, not really eating, kind of seeing what we're doing, but not really communicating with us, not watching the show with us. So at some point, doesn't say anything, just puts his bowl down. No, the rest of us have all completed eating. This was, the longest eater in history. Maybe that's why he needed a head start. So we are sitting there. This fool puts down his bowl, walks into my bedroom, which, by the way, it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was 2 girls in each bedroom because it was college. So he walked into my bedroom, I'm assuming knew which one was mine because everything was pink, because he'd never seen my bedroom. We had not even kissed. There had been absolutely zero contact with this guy, which makes what happens next the strangest part of this story. He goes into the bedroom, shuts the door very loudly, not a slam, but shuts it kind of weirdly. He shut it so hard that all 4 of us turned, because the bathrooms, there was a bathroom in each room. So it very easily could have been, it very easily could have been, Oh, I needed to use the restroom, so I'm going to go into the bathroom in the bedroom, but shut the bedroom door. But it was loud enough that it wasn't like aggressive, but it meant something. So we all looked. 5 minutes goes by. 10 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. At this point, I had to see if this guy was wearing my clothes. Like, it was, what are you doing in there for 20 minutes? So I stand up and I go into my bedroom, my shared bedroom. He is in my bed with the blankets over him, and he is naked. I don't realize that he's naked. So I ask him, like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Do you not feel well or something? Are you laying down because, like, you don't feel well? You hit your head because you're insane? Like, what's wrong? And he replies, like, oh, like, nothing. Just, I just cooking such a big meal. Just made me so tired and in here. Like, you want to come show me your appreciation? Like, what did you just say to me? So at this point, I just, like, couldn't have this anymore. And I'm like, look, you need to get up and go. So I ripped the covers off of him. He's naked in my bed. And I just, like, something inside of me was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Like, my roommates are out there. You come here, you're disrespectful, you're crazy. I had a can of Lysol next to the bed. And also when I lifted it, this, like, stench off his body, like this sickening, like, slap you in the face stench came off. So the stench comes up, and and also, the, like, infuriating stuff. I grabbed this Lysol can and I just Lysoled him. I Lysoled his eyes, his mouth, his chest, his little dingling, his fucking, like, I was just like, ah, like I was macing a grizzly bear that was coming after me. Like, I was like, ah. And then I went and put the covers back on him and walked out into the living room because I just, like, didn't know what to do. So I walked out in the living room and I sat down on the couch with my roommates. 2 seconds later, he comes out, fully dressed, runs out of the bedroom and slams the front door. My roommates at this point looked at me and they're like, what happened? Was he, like, puking in the bathroom? Was he taking it, like, was he having diarrhea? What just happened? It's like, well, ladies, I just Lysoled a naked man that was laying in my bed. So we had a good laugh. I think Beth bought us some wine because she was, like, the oldest one. And we washed my sheets that night. And that, my friends, was probably one of the strangest dates I guess you could say I've ever been on in my whole life. And it gets worse. So I hate to admit this. And if I was a better person, I wouldn't have to admit this because this part of the story wouldn't have happened. But I was 18 and I was stupid. So that guy sent me a very long email, told me how sorry he was about how he acted so inappropriately, and he was just really nervous. It was, like, his first date, and he really liked me, and he was, like, really embarrassed, and asked me if he could take me out to dinner as an apology. So I said yes. I'm a forgiving person. We all do stupid things. I don't know about that stupid, but, why not? So he takes me to dinner at the Cheesecake Factory. And with the Cheesecake Factory, it's not a luxury price, but I think the Cheesecake Factory is, it's not a luxury expense. It's not like a luxury dinner, but it's like a good amount, especially if you get, well, I mean, now as an adult, like, I could get drinks, clearly. But if you get an appetizer and dessert and meal, for 2 people, it comes out to a lot. So it takes me there, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice, so I get my meal, and we're, like, talking, and, like, laughing, and everything's great. And then the guy, comes, he's like, would you like any dessert? And I was like, I would love a piece of cheesecake. Like, I love cheesecake so much. Like, thank you. Yeah, I really like the dessert menu. My date goes, no, she won't be having any dessert. So I look at him and I say, yes, she will be having some dessert. And he says, well, I didn't bring enough money for dessert. So I didn't bring enough money for dessert. So you can't get dessert. So I said to him, I am not coming to the Cheesecake Factory and not having a piece of cheesecake. I will pay for my own cheesecake if you cannot afford my cheesecake, which in itself, to this day, that's the only time this has ever happened where somebody was like, no, I can't afford. Like, don't take someone on a date. You can't afford it. Don't take someone on a date. So, like, I paid for my own cheesecake, like, at the end. He paid for dinner. Bill comes. I see him, pay the money. He didn't tip the server. So normally I wouldn't be like, oh, how much are you paying? But it was like $60 or something, and he paid exactly $60. So I said, oh, well, you forgot to leave a tip. Oh, what, you weren't going to leave a tip? No, he said, oh, I didn't have enough money for a tip. Well, if you don't have enough money for a tip, then you shouldn't be eating out at a restaurant, should you? So I ended up like giving $10 or something, which at the time, I was 18. I was like, this is just so insane, I'm giving like a $10 tip when I, didn't even want to go on a date with this guy. This is supposed to be like this big apology. The whole thing was just crazy. Look how rock and roll I look right now. Yeah. So the entire date was insane, to say the least. Everything about this date was just crazy. And I do not remember this guy's name. It's not that I'm trying to protect his identity. I honestly do not remember his name. That is how just insignificant he was. And I never spoke to him again, but Colin Farrell was at that Cheesecake Factory, and I called my homegirls, and my roommates came, and we all like got to walk by him and be like, oh my God, Colin Farrell. So that part of it was like, cool. It was... Stuff happened. Everything happens for a reason, but damn. That boy was just a train wreck. Also, big shout out to Love Well. My necklace is from them. They make amazing stuff. They're 3 sisters. They're from Massachusetts. They're friends with my homegirls. So you guys should definitely check them out. I will link their website below. Please like my video. Please give it some thumbs. And please share it if you want to share it. Please comment if you want to comment, because I love you bitches and you boys. And I always like to reply to your little comments. So have a great day, y'all. Love you.